feel like, my car accident was a wake up call from God, telling me to, really, focus and, bite down and, refocus on what's going on. And I feel like I wasn't as focused as I am now. Like, it's kind of like from the Kell Brook fight or before that, like how focused I am now. Like, I'm really trying to put my all into it because I got a lot of stuff to prove people wrong. It's a lot of things that people been saying and, YouTube, or is he still gonna be the same? Can he fight the same? Is his reflex still gonna be the same? So I still got a lot to prove that in the ring and to prove to other people that, I'm still the same Errol Spence.
Do you feel like you've been unjust?
Those are the words of Errol Spence. I've been waiting a long time to hear Errol Spence talk about his wreck. Talk about what it meant to him. Talk about, a wake-up call, a sense of gratitude in some stretch of the imagination. And we finally got that. He felt like it was a wake-up call from God, and he says he's more focused now, like he was when he did get the world title against Kell Brook for the IBF in England, okay, or in the UK. Now, that lets us know that he had fell off, that he was tripping, that he was, not focused, doing all the wrong things and not doing the things that he normally did before, okay? And a lot of people questioned Errol Spence, not his boxing ability or anything like that. They questioned, was he okay? Because he was hanging around people. He was making comments. He was making press conference presentations that were just, dude, you drunk? What's the deal? You're talking in front of people, just stuttering and, slurring. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, you're around the Charlos and then Adrian Broner, and Adrian Broner goes ham. Adrian Broner goes to jail a lot. He might go to jail once a year or once every year and a half for something. And if he ain't went to jail, he's made headlines, right? So that was his company, So I've heard the saying, you hang around 10 broke people, you're bound to be the 11th. Okay? If you hang around that many drunk people, you're bound to be another drunk person. Because you're going to do what they do. The company you keep, birds flock together. The sayings. It's true. But when Errol Spence had this accident, everybody kind of like, whoa. I know I was like, oh, snap. Because I questioned Errol Spence wanting that fight. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But my general concern for Errol Spence wasn't as a boxer. It was as a person. It was as a human being. A human being with a soul and a spirit, and aspirations and a family. Those type of things. Those superseded the boxing. Okay, I wasn't worried about him, what about boxing? I think that's selfish of us. Like, will he ever box again? Well, if he's paralyzed, let's hope he walks again. Yeah? Fair enough? You know what I mean? Instead of, oh man, I don't think he'll ever be the same boxing-wise. I'm like, dude, the dude got in a Ferrari. Okay, other people have not walked out of that situation the same. Much more famous people than that. Okay? Paul Walker, to say the least, to name one. You know what I mean? And you know how people are. When people die, you can take a pick. Which one would you pick from? Those type of things. So, and they base that off of how cool you were, how good of a person you were to everyone else. Okay? And at that time, Errol Spence really wasn't that go-to guy. This ain't the same Errol Spence that fought Kell Brook. This is the Errol Spence that was getting drunk all the time, hanging out with A, B, and Javante Tank, right? Those guys, they had a little, drunk squad going. We're all boxers, we all can fight, and we all stay lit. Right? So that was the MO for those cats. And he was, he was a part of that. And it was one of those things, you just had to question what direction he was going down, and then when he had that wreck and then he came out, like, dude, he ain't had no broken bones. People were like, whoa, snap, really? And, of case, a lot of things died. Some boxers died. And then he comes out and says, unlike this statement, he comes out and says, I'm a savage, So it's like, dude, you're a savage. What are you, bragging? You should be thankful, but you're bragging. So that's like the first thing he said, but he took that off the internet, as you can recall. And then like another post that we received from him, the next one was totally different. It was like a cry for help type shit. I give up, with a frown face. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Like a black backboard. You guys remember that? So these are stages. I don't know if it was, withdrawals. Because I don't know what limit or level, and I'm not going to, pretend to know. I'm just speculating. But, he went from I'm a savage to my life is over. I give up or something. You know what I mean? Like, dude, what the hell? What are you talking about? You give up. You give up what exactly? Because it wasn't specific at all. It was just, I give up. Right? With a crying emoji, a little sad emoji and shit. And now we go to another personality or aspect. Errol Spence saying, hey, this is a calling from God. This was a true testament of, hey, this is a wake-up call. God's, you guys ever heard of Richard Pryor? JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling? It's one of them situations. And I'm like this. I'm not here to bash Errol Spence. I'm just saying this. For one, he could have said this earlier, but maybe he didn't feel like it at the time. Let's look at it this way. I'm glad that he has realized what that car accident meant to him, because it could have meant his death sentence, or his or another, probably worse, I would say, being paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that he is waking up to understand like what matters. And maybe this pandemic, allowed him to stay at home and not to crazy parties and stuff like that, like he was doing. And I do think he went back to that after that. He received a DWI, big deal, to a millionaire. That doesn't matter. Now you can take Uber or taxi or hire somebody to drive you around if you want. But I don't think that was the big deal. So maybe this time has shown him something. It helped a lot of people in different ways. Like, out of all bad things, some good things do come. And these good things that probably, flashed in front of Errol Spence and showed him like, hey, this is what it is. It's time to get your focus back. And he looks in good shape. So I'm glad to finally hear Errol Spence say some words of encouragement and look at his situation the way I feel a lot of people felt that he should have took it. But at least better late than never. I will say that. Now, based on where he is now versus where he was, I have to say this, because I have to keep it real, okay? The way he was drinking, the way he was partying, the way he said he wasn't focused, how could he be seriously thinking about fighting Terrence Crawford, a guy that is nothing like that? You see what I'm saying? How could you be that particular person you claim to be, and you claim, oh, I'm going to punish him, I'm going to do this, but then you knew you weren't as focused as you were. You know what I mean? So I don't even think that fight was actually on the table or nowhere to be made. If you notice, Errol Spence is talking about, I'm going to fight him this year or next year, right? He wasn't saying that before. He was saying, oh, Al Heyman wanted me to fight Pacquiao, Thurman, Garcia, and Porter, right? So that's just some food for thought, people. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about Errol Spence's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.